I'm going to make something very clear here. This doesn't have even a ton to do with Andy Dalton. Regardless of how well or poorly Andy Dalton is playing, there is no reason the Panthers should play a nearly 37-year-old quarterback who isn't under contract beyond this season during a lost season. There is absolutely no reason why this year should be played with the guy that gives us the best chance to win mentality, even if you think that's Andy Dalton. Because wins don't help you from this point forward. They don't. And that's a bummer for fans. That stinks for players, especially veterans. It stinks for guys on expiring contracts, but it's the nature of the beast. And that means Bryce Young should get the look. It does. By the way, this is not a good situation. It is the lesser of two evil situations. When faced with bad and badder, you take bad, right? When faced with worse and the worst, you take the worst, right? You take the lesser of two evils. The worst. The same arguments for benching Bryce after game 2 now apply to benching Andy Dalton. You can't evaluate the rest of the team any better with Andy Dalton in the game than Bryce right now. You think Diontae Johnson or Xavier Legette suddenly, it's like, oh, now I know whether they were playing well or bad yesterday because Andy Dalton was in there. You just don't. You just don't. And if it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, feels like you're about to lose the locker room again. Guys were checking out in that game. Go watch the second interception Andy Dalton threw. Diontae Johnson's route looks like somebody who decided about 4 steps in, the ball wasn't coming his way, and he was just going to chill.
Yep.
And he did look like at the top of the route, he wanted to push Emmanuel Forbes, kind of get that separation, but when he didn't, he was just like, well, Emmanuel Forbes gets the interception.
Yeah, you can tell Andy Dalton, before Forbes even intercepted the ball, had both arms up going like, what are you doing?
Guys are checking out. So if you're going to lose the locker room, that's why you had to bench Bryce. Do you have the locker room now? You haven't lost it? Dave Canales today was asked about Bryce, and he did the old do-si-do and sidestepped.
Right now we're focused on the Broncos. Andy's playing this week, and that's really where our focus is at. And all those other conversations are all hypothetical conversations that, definitely Dan, Brant, that we have to have. But right now we're focused on playing the Broncos and, focused on getting Andy to take another step in terms of getting us back to good football.
Are they conversations that are ongoing, and are you a part of them?
Again, all hypothetical questions. We're focused on the Broncos and Andy.
Few things. First of all, that's not a hypothetical. Are there conversations that you're a part of? That's like yes or no. That's not saying if Bryce Young plays better or if Andy Dalton has another bad game, then would you entertain? That's a hypothetical. Just saying, are there conversations going on right now? That is just a question. Secondly, we're not entertaining any other thoughts other than gung-ho on the road getting to 2-6. Getting to 2-6. Getting from 4th in the NFC South to also 4th in the NFC South. We're not talking about anything else. That's not an acceptable answer. By the way, you're not under oath at the podium. Say yes or no. Right? Are you still confident in Bryce? Yes. And we're working with him, and we hope he gets another opportunity. I've never seen someone more obviously answer a question without answering the question. They just don't like Bryce Young. They just don't. He was asked why Andy Dalton still gives them the best chance. Dave Canales' answer.
Just in terms of how the progression of what we've been doing offensively, I think that, if you look at the collection of the games he's played, there's been some really good situational passing that have come out of it. We've had some explosive plays come out of it, The offense has ran smoothly for the most part, and, I'd love for us as a group, Andy included, to find a way to finish, and yesterday we didn't have a finish up. The game got out of hand so quickly, but the week before, I think that's where we were headed, but now, again, we have to address just fundamental execution, breaking the huddle, lining up properly, and finishing those plays.
Explosive plays. Guess what, everybody? That's a figment of your imagination. This past week, on average, 5.8 yards per attempt. He threw for 93 yards. 5.8 yards per attempt. Guess what?
Bruh.
Guess what? That is the furthest, the highest yards per attempt he has had since his first start. 16 attempts, 93 yards is the furthest he's had yards per attempt of any start other than that magical Vegas Raiders game that started it all. 5.5 against Cincinnati, 4.9 against Chicago, also 5.8 against the Atlanta Falcons. He's had 4 interceptions in the last 2 games. He's had 6 in the last 4 games. You can sit up there and say you think he will be better. You can sit up there and say you think he is moving forward what's best. You can't say, look at what he's done. There's been explosive plays. There simply haven't. Against Cincinnati a month ago, he had a 39-yard completion. He hasn't thrown a single pass over 40 yards. Not a single one. You know, it's been declining since he got in there, and this is what I talk about when I talk about backup quarterbacks. And I think Andy Dalton is still a good backup quarterback in the NFL. They are the small donut tire. Right? When you have a blowout on the highway, you throw the donut on there, and he'll get you to the next auto body shop. You can't drive him cross country. He'll give you 3 weeks. Win 1 or 2 games. Keep the car on the road till your starter gets back. But you can't expect him to give you 17 games. Can't expect him to give you 15 weeks. Do you know what this tells me? It tells me the coaches in front office are not worried about their jobs at all. What are they like this offseason? Let's say David Tepper is a little temperamental. He's a little reactive. Right? Let's pretend. Let's live in this make-believe world that the owner is kind of impulsive.
Speaking of hypotheticals.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have this hypothetical, although it's kind of real. And he comes into the offseason and he calls in his GM and his head coach into what I can only assume is his office made of gold and fine trimmings. And he says, all right, show me your progress. What are they showing? What are they showing? What have they built on to show progress? Show that things are getting better.
We can say what we're not good at. So that's
progress. Process of elimination.
Exactly. Hey, well, we're not good at this. Okay.
Most guys end up playing the young quarterback because then they can say we gave the young guy reps. Mm-hmm. We suffered a little bit, but we worked through some growing pains and he's getting better. They're playing Andy Dalton and saying this is what gives us the best chance right now. And then he's going out there and having 4 turnovers in 2 games, and he's getting beat by 33 points by a backup quarterback on the other side. You go to Bryce for the simple fact of you have no reason not to. You go back to Bryce because on the off chance he plays halfway decent, even if you hate him, you get a better pick back this offseason in a trade. You go to Bryce because there's a possibility, I don't care how small you think that possibility is, that he ends up being a guy in this league. Now, are there a lot of examples of guys being as poor as he was through their first 18 starts and turning it around? No. But there are some squint with one eye, close the other. It kind of looks the same examples. Remember Jared Goff through his first season with what was it, Fisher as the coach? He was awful. The next year, playoffs. The next year, Super Bowl. Now he has more touchdowns. The offense for the Lions right now has more touchdowns in their last 4 games than Jared Goff has in completions. He has the Lions offense has 18 touchdowns in their last 4 games. Yeah. He has 15 incompletions in their last 4 games.
Humming.
That guy was a bust after 1 year. Am I saying Bryce Young is that? No. Darn sure not. Don't put those words in my mouth. Am I saying there is a 0% chance that's Andy Dalton? Also, yes. Bryce Young might have a 0.01% chance, but that's more than Andy Dalton.
Chad on our YouTube chat agrees, says, yes, 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 go back to Bryce to see what we have. Place every single rookie in and see how they do.
I'm with it. And if you have some really, really cringy drives to watch, I can point to like 7 really, really cringy drives in the last 2 games with Andy Dalton and the vets in there. Deontay Johnson wants to be traded? Cool. Get a pick for him.
Yeah. Clearly doesn't want to be here.
Would you?
I don't blame him.
I wouldn't run the soft routes he was running.
I mean, it's not like he's helping.
The jogging wouldn't get me super excited. But I get why a veteran on a contract year would be like, this isn't helping me.
Clinton's very frustrated with Dave Canales saying, back to the fundamentals. Yeah, okay, sorry, we expected you to be a professional team and be somewhat competitive. It's like a loop every week at the press conference. Why even have it? Yeah, we viewed the tape, but we need to get back to the fundamentals.
I mean, fundamentals, right? It's blocking and tackling.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Catching and throwing.
Well, they can't tackle, well, that's for sure.
Some of them can. 2 rookies, top 3 on the team in tackles. Shaw Smith-Wade showed some fight.
Yeah, he did.
I want somebody out there that's going to finish like Shaw Smith-Wade, rookie nickel, the slot corner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he did it. He hit Mariota when Mariota was sliding, and nobody got even asked for a flag. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Mariota was in his slide, and he popped him anyway, and I was like, oh. But it's a hustle problem at least. He was running to make a play. Refs kind of went like, no, you know what? I like you. No flag on you.